Denny Coderre was just on the show. He's still opposed to this Energy East pipeline. Yet word came out today in Alberta. They've now had more layoffs than any time since 1982. It's a decimation out there. Michelle, you are from Calgary. What's the mood out there when it comes to Denny Coderre's comments? Can this thing be accomplished without national unity being threatened at all, in your view?
A strong Alberta means a strong Canada. And as a Calgary MP, what I've taken offense to is that somehow, especially with the Prime Minister's comments in Davos, there was sort of a dog whistle in there saying we don't support the natural resources industry. And I don't think that any debate around that should be ideological or good versus evil. We can talk about where we're at today, but the bottom line is there's well over 100,000 people that are out of work in my province. Their severance is running out. And I mean, if we saw a manufacturing plant in Ontario, there'd be sort of this national outcry, and there needs to be outcry over this. This is a major concern for the national economy, and I think the Liberals need to be very clear. I don't think you're going to hear my colleague here talk about whether or not the Liberal Party supports Denise Coderre's position or not. We need to have a very clear understanding from the government on where they stand on these types of projects. They can't obfuscate and say we're going to have a transitional, as the Natural Resources Minister said. Can you imagine that we've got this industry that's in crisis and the Natural Resources Minister stands up and said we're going to have some sort of vague transitional process around environmental reviews. That's exactly what the industry does not want to hear right now, is more uncertainty. So I'm sorry to get so passionate about here, but we have to care about the people who are out of work, not just in Alberta, but the ripple effect this is going to have about the country. This is about people's livelihoods. And having a mayor and a prime minister that's not clear on this issue does not help our country in any way, shape, or form. And it's frustrating and disappointing.
Isn't it time, I mean, was it a dog whistle to oppose resources, and shouldn't it be time you picked up a bullhorn and said we do support resources? Isn't that what Justin Trudeau should be doing?
Well, it will probably surprise Michelle to hear a Quebec MP like myself say, of course, job losses in Alberta are tragic, and of course Alberta's prosperity is good for Canadian prosperity. Right. We have resource workers all over the country, forestry workers in Quebec, mining workers that were laid off last week in New Brunswick.
This is 100,000.
We are going through. We are going through an anemic economic phase. We've inherited this anemic economy based largely on low commodity prices due to, in essence, slipping demand from Asia. So what are we going to do about that? We are going to focus like a laser beam on those communities. We are going to invest in the economy. And what I deplore is any politician who, whether they're from one side of the political spectrum or another, using and exacerbating regional tensions in this country in the interests of advancing these projects. If you listen to the New Democrats, they would have us put this project into the dustbin right away. If you listen to the Conservative Party, they would have us approve this project right away. What we've said and what we committed to in the election campaign is that we will put in place a process that Canadians can have confidence in, where stakeholders and interveners can come, where the proponents can offer assurances on economic benefit, can offer assurances on environmental safeguards, and Canadians can have confidence that development, pipeline development and other resource development in this country can happen, and that there will be pure transparency in the process. So we will be moving on that.
Saying that this crisis, and it is a crisis, is due only to low commodity prices belies a complete misunderstanding of what's happening in the economy right now. You have an industry that takes multi-billion dollars worth of capital projects, and when those decisions are made, it's based on factors like how long is this environmental assessment process going to take? What factors are there? How are we retaining skilled labor? Because labor is an input to economic growth here. What about how you're responding to Alberta's request for minimum wage? This is a complete denial of how to manage the situation. And something, even though Jenny and I might take different opinions on how the environmental review process should be undertaken, to just say, hey, we're going to sit on our hands and put more uncertainty in the market, but hey, it's just low commodity prices, is a disservice to every person in my city that is out of work right now. It's ridiculous and it's embarrassing. I'm sorry to get so passionate about this, but there are people out of work, lots of people, and the country needs to wake up to the fact that this is a big problem.